of the word Daytona, you think of speed in America. When you think of Daytona in South Africa, you'll also be wanting to think of speed. With me this week on Insight is the CEO of Daytona South Africa, Justin Divaris.
Good morning. Good morning.
Daytona, where did the name come from?
It's quite a long story actually. It firstly originated from the famous Rolex Daytona watch, because that's my career started in the watch business. We were the Rolex agents, and then obviously I linked back to the racetrack and the Daytona Speedway because racing is another passion of ours and of myself, and the two together kind of the name stuck. They had a good sound to it.
Okay, so now for people who don't know what Daytona is and does, just give us a brief. I know there's obviously a lot of parts of the business and a lot of different brands, but just give us an idea of what Daytona is.
So basically we see ourselves as a luxury lifestyle company. Obviously a big part of it is sports cars and motoring, and on the sports car side we're the official importers for South Africa and most of Africa for Aston Martin, Rolls-Royce, McLaren, Brabus, and most recently Pagani, the Italian hypercar.
Dream Garage.
Sure.
Okay, but it started with Aston, right? In 2003, was it?
Correct. We started in 2003 talking to Aston.
How did that come about?
So at that stage we were just BMW dealers. We are still BMW dealers and Audi dealers in South Africa. And I've always had a passion for Aston. I started talking to the factory a few years before that about possibly looking at South Africa. They always felt South Africa wasn't a large enough market for Aston to come to yet. And eventually in 2004 and 5, they decided to allow South African companies to tender for the brand at my constant nagging, I think.
Okay, so you certainly proved them wrong with Aston.
Yeah, so Aston's quite a unique story. They put us down for about 20 cars per annum for South Africa.
Yeah.
When I first pitched to them, I said, listen, give me 50 for the first year. I think I can move 50.
Yeah.
There were lots of giggles in Gaydon in the UK. And anyway, to cut a long story short, we ended up doing over 100 cars in our first year, and we're one of the top 5 dealers worldwide.
And that's been a continuing trend? I mean, how is the luxury car market doing in South Africa? These are brands that
it's been pretty buoyant. I'd say we probably a little bit more resistant to the economy and what goes on by nature of the fact the type of customer we're dealing with. I think our biggest factor is the exchange rate. So while the rand's strong, we do very well. At the moment, prices are great. So it's a good time to buy a supercar.
If you've got the money. Now,
Sure.
You talk about your customers. I've been lucky enough to come to a few of the Daytona launch parties.
Yes.
They are always full of a variety of big name celebrities and people who look very wealthy, as well as people who don't look very wealthy at all.
Yes, some special characters.
How do you please your customers?
Yeah, so, I always say don't judge a book by its cover. Some of our customers are really wacky and different. Some of them are traditional looking supercar customers. I think all our staff at Daytona, our kind of attitude from the start's always been friendly to everybody, allow anyone to test drive a car within reason. We don't turn people away. And even people who maybe can't afford a car at this stage but are aspiring to be in our brand, it's a big part of our drive is kids, younger up and coming guys, entrepreneurs starting businesses, to get them into the brand and experience it a little bit in one way or another.
That's quite a risk though.
It is. It's not a free-for-all, but we do like to have an open door policy. A lot of the supercar brands when we started with Aston were very against test drives. You couldn't test drive a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. It was very elitist. High barriers to entry. If you didn't know the people extremely well, you weren't allowed to drive a car. So I think one of our success factors in Aston was the fact that we had a lot of demonstrator cars and we allowed a lot of people to experience the car. And maybe half those people couldn't afford the car at the time, but over time a lot of those people have been converted to customers and always remember the way they were treated by Aston Martin in the early days.
You have your pick really of a daily driver, but I know you also have kids, young kids, so obviously the McLaren's not going to do the school run.
Yes, no.
What do you drive?
So day to day, either BMW and Audi. The weekends, yes, and a McLaren on Aston. Special occasion, maybe a Rolls-Royce. So there are some benefits to this tough car industry we're in. But it's going to get interesting soon because Aston Martin is going to soon have a car for the school run. They're launching the DBX, their 4x4, and that's at the end of this year. And so is Rolls-Royce with this new Cullinan. So we might have an excuse to put a couple of baby seats in the back.
That's very exciting in terms of new product. Your dream garage,
Sure.
5 cars. 5 cars from your range, obviously. Or not from your range.
No, you've caught me off guard there. So, number 1, a McLaren P1.
Okay.
My favorite car of all time at the moment. Number 2 would be a McLaren Senna, which is the kind of
like that?
a kind of a P1 replacement that's coming. I know a lot of people aren't mad about the looks.
It's quite hectic.
Yeah, people are divided, but it's going to be one of the best track cars in the world as a road car that's allowed to go on the track, and that appeals to me. There definitely have to be a Rolls Royce in there, probably a ghost black badge that the kids can fit in the back. Definitely an M product from BMW.
Which one?
Sure, tough. M5, maybe an M4 GTS. One of the hardcore M products would have to be in there. And then a little something from Audi, like an RS model. At the moment, I've got an RS6 Avant, fantastic wagon, family wagon for the kids. So that would have to be in the dream garage. I think I'm on 5. Oh, an Aston. I haven't had an Aston in there.
I think you passed 5.
Aston would have to be the DBX, the new 4x4 coming. We haven't got a 4x4 in that garage.
Your passion for cars personally, you mentioned the track. You take a lot of your customers on track days. That's part of the experience.
Yes, I think.
You also race?
Sure. So I think a big thing of the Daytona culture is we want people to experience their car in a safe environment where they can actually, use the speed. We've got a driving academy where we teach them how to drive these supercars. The days are gone of speeding around on public roads. It's not safe. It's not the right thing to do. It's not a good thing for the brand. And we like to, when we drive on public roads, it'll be a breakfast run out somewhere picturesque for a breakfast. It's not about racing or speeding anywhere.
Yeah.
And we'd rather let our customers enjoy their cars at a Kyalami racetrack, a Swartkorps, a Killarney in Cape Town. And as I say, we have our own racing academy. We teach people how to drive their cars. We like to get the guys out there, and we don't penalise them on their warranty or their motor plan. We've got a system where we check their car before they go on the track, when they come back from the track, and we want guys to experience what these cars are actually made for and can see what they can do.
I'm incredibly frustrated because we're behind the wheel of
in Santon, good luck.
In Santon at the moment, and I'm driving like a complete and utter
Next
crash.
interview is going to have to be on the racetrack for you.
Is this a popular model for McLaren?
Sure. So this 570 we're in today, quite a special car. This particular one we've done some additions and modifications to, which I'll take you through. But 570 is what McLaren would call their sort of starting point on their sports car range. The car starts at about 3.3 million rand. And affordable for a McLaren. I know the number sounds high, but very affordable for a McLaren compared to what's out there from the competition.
Yeah.
Still same twin turbo V8 engine you find in the rest of the range. Unbelievable performance, 3.2 seconds 0 to 100, 330 kilometers per hour. Not that we can get way over 30 in the Santon traffic, but there's another 300 to go if you so wish. And in this particular car, we've tried something new. We've done what we call a GT4 body kit. We've got the big wing on the back, like the McLaren GT4 race car, and some carbon bits on the front and the sides just to make this car a little bit more special.
Because it didn't look special.
No, sure.
Okay, so speaking of accessories, you guys also, was it 2 years ago, you brought Brabus to South Africa.
Correct.
How popular is that here?
Really popular. We've actually been overwhelmed by the response.
Okay.
And Brabus, what we're really doing is it's one step up from Mercedes AMG. So you'd have a normal Mercedes, you'd have a Mercedes AMG, and then you'd get a Brabus. So it's really the hardcore version of what you can do to a Mercedes-Benz car. And it's been very well received by South Africans, especially the G63, which has almost become an iconic sort of 4x4 in the streets of Santon, pavement basher.
You've got isn't there a yellow one?
There's a yellow one, there's an orange one,
Oh.
there's a green one, there's quite a box of Smarties going around there in terms of G classes.
So what's next for Daytona? I mean, for you personally, you're only 37?
44. Jeez,
Still
you're my new favorite person.
Young to be owning such a successful and huge business in the automotive industry.
Thanks.
What's next?
So our next most exciting thing is Pagani, really. I know it's very small volume. We might get 2 cars a year to South Africa. They only make about 25 cars a year for the world. Absolute special hypercar. Our first car is coming later this year, which we'll have a big launch for. We're also getting a demonstrator car from the factory. We've been fortunate enough they're lending us a car for a couple of months, so we'll get a few customers to experience, definitely. We'll have some sort of event at Kyalami, definitely.
Okay.
And then our other big news for this year is we're building a new home in Melrose Arch. So we're building an 8,000 square meter new home for Daytona, which will house all our luxury brands.
Is that time? We just to wrap up a little bit. Just to go back to you and how you got started in this. You said it started with
BMW.
And with jewelry.
Yes,
But
yes.
How did you, and you are an entrepreneur, how do you raise the finance? Where does the initial opportunity come from?
My saying is, I owe, it's off to work I go. You have to, unfortunately have to get lots of debt to get going, and maybe I was fortunate to start in a time when it was easier to raise debt.
Yeah.
I think for entrepreneurs these days it's quite tough to get banks to trust you and invest in you. But I think from the start I was fortunate to have a good relationship with one of the larger banks, with First Rand Bank, and they did assist me a lot in starting the various businesses. And as you go along, you pay it back and you grow slowly, and you pay. You know, it's been a long, gradual process of about 14 years, and all the time we just look to grow that a little bit more and secure our business a bit more with new brands and things that fit into our culture. We try and stick to brands that suit our customer base.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're in a very enviable position, I think. There's a lot of our audience who would just actually love to walk into the dealership, never mind.
They're welcome. Whenever they like, they're welcome. As I said, we've got an open door policy. Anyone's welcome to come have a look at the cars whenever they like. Saturday morning is always great at Daytona.
Yeah.
And as I was saying, our new home we're building in Melrose is going to be a complete lifestyle centre, restaurant, bar, lounge, meeting rooms for the customers, some things for the ladies in terms of a spa. We're going to have a detailing centre for your cars.
Oh, cool.
So it's going to be something really different. That's going to open November this year,
Oh, wow.
our new facility.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Cool. Well, it's been fantastic chatting to you, Justin.
Thank you so much for coming to us today.
And congratulations. It's just amazing what you've done.
Thank you. Are you keeping the 570 or do we get it back?